On the Perth Wildcast, we are leading up to Heritage Round for the Perth Wildcats this weekend as part of the game against the Illawarra Hawks Friday night at RAC Arena. And the Wildcats are celebrating 30 years of the 1995 title win, sort of 30 years, with the Perth Wildcats, which had an amazing array of players. We are talking Scott Fisher. We are talking Andrew Vlahov. We're talking the Alabama Slammer in James Crawford, Martin Cannellini, and a whole host more. Adrian Hurley was the coach. And a man that has an amazing history with the Perth Wildcats. A four-time NBL champion, a two-time grand final MVP, four-time All-NBL first-team player, and his jersey is up in the rafters at RAC Arena. His number is retired, the number 15. It has to be the great Ricky Grace, who is joining us right now on the Perth Wildcast. Ricky, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. I finally made it.
We had a few troubles getting connection, but we managed to figure it out, Ricky. Hey, we are celebrating the 30-year anniversary of the 1995 championship. It was a very hard-fought series between yourselves and the Melbourne Giants. You lost the first game at home, had to go on the road, win the second game, and you were behind. It was a bit of a come-from-behind win, that one, and then winning by 20 in the final game. What do you remember about the final moments in that game at the Perth Entertainment Centre, the old Perth Entertainment Centre, in Game 3?
Well, the final moments were, I guess it's nice when you know you're about to win. So as you said, it was a comfortable win by 20 points or so. So it was just a nice celebration, knowing that we were about to go to London to play the Houston Rockets. Both teams had a midnight flight booked to fly out that day. And I saw the North Melbourne Giants rock up with their bags packed like they were going on a holiday, and I thought, to hell with that. So, no, we're the ones that went on the nice holiday.
Obviously, you had four, Hall of Fame guys with Scott Fisher, James Crawford, and Vlahoff, and then yourself. First off, do you think that's the most talented team you've ever been a part of? And what would you compare that team to, all the other championship teams? Do you say it's one of the best teams in Perth history, or what?
People like to talk about the most talented, the best, and, it's a great debate, but I guess the most talented team I ever played on was in college. At the University of Oklahoma, I played my senior year. We lost the national championship game to the University of Kansas. But on my college team, I had Harvey Grant, who was drafted first round, Mookie Blaylock, who was drafted first round in the NBA, and also Stacey King. So there were 3 first-round draft picks on that team, and then myself. So that was probably the most talented team that I've ever played on. But for the Wildcats, that was definitely the most credentialed team that I've ever played on. Obviously having those Hall of Famers were great. James was probably more at the latter part of his career, but was still playing really good basketball. Probably had the game of his life in that actual game where he was amazing and had one of his best games I ever seen him play, even though he was at the tail end of his career. So, no, definitely a treat to be able to play with, those 3 Hall of Famers.
Yes, kind of going off that team, what were your fondest memories of that season, like other than the grand final series?
Well, we won the Triple Crown that year. They had a preseason tournament. We won that. The regular season, we won that.
Awesome.
And we also finished it off by winning the grand finals. So I guess you can say we won the Triple Crown, which was something that we had set a goal to do that year because we knew we had a chance to be really good. So I guess achieving the Triple Crown, winning the preseason, the regular season, and the postseason, and then traveling to London to play the Houston Rockets. The game was televised on national TV in America. So when we won the championship, I was really trying to convince the boys not to drink on the way over to London to celebrate the championship, because we basically got off the plane and had to play the game. But about 1 hour into the flight, I knew, everybody was pretty much already there, if you know what I mean. So I just went, stuff it. I might as well get there too. And so the flight over was sort of our celebration. And I remember just really enjoying just the, first class flight over to London as well.
Now, there's some footage I saw of post celebrations after the grand final in 1995. And I don't know if you remember this, but Andrew Vlahov was sat in a chair getting his head shaved. Do you know anything about what that was about?
We all shaved our heads.
Did you?
So, yes. If you look at the film, we all look like we just got out of jail.
Yeah, that is a crazy win celebration to shave all your heads.
Yeah, so it was a little pact that we made. So I don't know where it came from, how it came about, but we all actually had our head shaved for that game. So it's not great footage, to be honest.
I'll get the guys to make that pack this year.
Yeah.
There you go.
I hope I'm never in a pack like that.
Oh, Amelia, you'd look good with a shaved head, wouldn't you?
Oh, no, I don't think so. Some people can pull it off.
Sinead O'Connor,
Don't think
I can
am.
see you. Sinead O'Connor. You got the Sinead O'Connor look.
How did the game against the Rockets go? I don't think we have any info on that here. So do you remember how that went?
The first half, we were still there, if you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
I think it took us about till halftime to run the celebrations out of us. The second half, we were a bit more competitive, but it wasn't our best game. We probably ended up losing by about 40 points or so. So, but the next day, we came back and we played the European champions, who were Real Madrid, and they're traditionally one of the top European teams in the world. So we actually beat Real Madrid the next day because we weren't very happy with our performance against the Rockets. So we were keen to show the world that we were world class, and going out and beating the European champions the next day was a pretty cool feat.
And you detoxed by that point, I'm assuming.
That's what I meant when I said we weren't there anymore.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah,
you
back
hear
in those days, you could get away with a little more, and we probably let our hair down a little bit more and probably had 1 or 2 champagnes more than we should have. But
Whatever hair was left.
Exactly. Good call.
I was going to say, you hear a lot about European fans being pretty crazy. How was that, like, atmosphere playing Madrid?
Yeah, the game was in London, so it was sort of a neutral site. But no, it was a really great atmosphere, even there in London. The people from London are probably know more about soccer than basketball, but it was a great atmosphere. The NBA, all the heavies from the NBA commissioner down were there. So just to sort of be playing in front of the who's who of the basketball world was fantastic.
I'm moving to a little more now in times. Obviously, you were there for Bryce's 59-point game, and I would say he's probably a no doubt Hall of Famer when he's done in the NBL. But I mean, how was that to be able to watch and see that, and how does it compare to other high scoring performances you've seen?
Man, I think that's the best I've seen. I looked over at my buddy when he was on 11 at the first quarter, and there still were about, 5 or 6 points to go. I said, Bryce is looking very ominous right now. He's looking like he's in one of them moods. And man, just to see him drop 59, I was pissed off that umpire didn't call a foul at
We
the
all
end.
were.
When he got fouled, so we could get him on that 60 ball, on that 60 piece. But man, that was one of the most amazing performances I've ever seen in person.
Yeah. So have you got any GOAT comparisons with Bryce Cotton?
No, I'll leave that to everybody else. But
Keep mutual.
you know,
Yeah.
well, I mean, if you look at credentials, Bryce is the best of all time. I mean, I never won an NBL, MVP, and he has many of those. And the things that he's done, and the amount of time he's been here is second to none. So I'm just happy to be in the conversation, but there's nobody on the Perth Wildcats in Perth Wildcats history that has achieved individually as much as Bryce has. I did play along, as you said earlier, 3 other Hall of Famers, so I wasn't quite required to do as much scoring and carrying the load. But when those guys retired, well, I was probably in my I was 36 years old and was, runner-up MVP of the league. Some say should have been MVP of the league. So I think for me, the longevity helps me in that conversation. But when it's all said and done, what this man has done will be absolutely second to none.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong there. A little more relaxed, but if you had to assemble an all-star or an all-time starting 5 of Perth players, and you have to win a game with your life on the line, who are you picking?
Great question.
You gotta go by position as well. We can't just throw 5 Bryce Cottons in there.
Yeah.
Well,
You can include yourself as well.
You wouldn't win with 5 Bryces, but you sure as hell win with 1 or 2. But I would put myself at the 1 and Bryce at the 2.
Nice.
Because I think we both would have been able to play together. Some great players can't play together because their games would crowd each other. But I think I would have very much enjoyed playing with Bryce and still would have been achieved the same things. So I probably put myself at the 1, Bryce at the 2. It's hard to go past Vlahoff at the 3. I think Paul Rogers was probably the best center the Wildcats have ever had, so I'd put him at the 5. And I'm not trying to disrespect the old, I'm not trying to disrespect the young cats because I got a lot of respect for all of the new generation and the skill level in which you guys are playing at now, which is everyone's playing at a higher skill level than what we were at. We were probably more relied on execution, and it was a lot more physical game back then. But, man, it's going to sound like I'm dissing the new generation, but I'm going with me, Bryce, Vlahoff, and then I got to put Crawford at the 4 and Paul Rogers at the 5.
I don't mind that. The Alabama Slammer was, for a kid growing up in Perth.
Who would you put in there, Elijah? Who's your top 5 all time? Come on, bro.
In terms of the starting 4, that's probably where I go, but I don't know much about the centers all time.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to do a little bit of research in terms of that.
Yeah, as a
yeah. No, okay.
I'm not gonna. The first 4 I agree with, but I don't know much about the center, so I'm gonna have to come back to that.
We're going to give Elijah a week to figure this out, okay? That's
fair.
your homework. That is your homework.
I'm gonna watch film.
Next podcast, you are getting your top 5 Wildcats
Were
players.
you a good student in uni, Elijah? Did you go to class?
Yeah, we kind of had to a little bit. Davis was tough, so I'd say I went to most classes at least until my last year. Then it was a bit relaxed.
Oh,
just don't tell my parents that. That's all.
They're not listening. Don't worry though.
Awesome. So you got to try on the Heritage Round kit, I heard. So I just wanted to hear what your thoughts are.
Man, I look good.
Look good, feel good, play good, right?
That's it. That's it. Well, I look good and feel good. I don't know if I can play good at 58. But no. It's a great thing. I really like the Wildcats black and gold. I mean, it's the original Perth Wildcats colors. It's the state colors. So I think it's a great throwback look. And yeah, no, it's something that I enjoy. It brings back great memories, and the Wildcats do a great job of promoting the game. Keeping guys,
Mm-hmm.
us old fellas involved. So, but yeah, I thought I looked pretty damn good.
Love to hear it.
I'm assuming you've seen a lot of Wildcats games this year, or at least a good amount of them.
Yeah.
Based on what you've seen, what are your thoughts or opinions on championship hopes?
Well,
I might be a little biased here in this, but your own opinion based on what you've seen. What are you thinking for championship wishes and dreams?
yeah, I mean, I'm always, you said championship hopes, and I'm always hopeful that the Wildcats win the championship. I think the Wildcats this year definitely have the talent to win the championship. I think when the Wildcats are playing their best, the Wildcats are easily, can win a championship. Probably just that consistency. I would like to see just a little more consistent basketball rather than great basketball than not so great basketball.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see the ability just to grind out some wins against some really good teams. I would like to see the Wildcats' ability to, when people do get hot, to put out their fires and don't allow season highs and career highs
We're working
and
on
those sort of things. I think the Wildcats need a couple of thugs, basketball thugs, that are willing to do the dirty work so that when someone does get hot, like people have against the Wildcats, well, somebody's going to have to man up and say, let me have him, and put their fire out. So definitely when the Wildcats are on song, they look great. But I would like to see you boys get that ability to just grind out some wins when you're not playing that great.
Elijah, you're a Hulk. Do you reckon you could be a thug?
I think I can get there.
Okay, good. Just checking.
Nominated thug. Let's go.
Maybe I'll just go out and foul the crap out of him.
Please don't do that. We need you on the court still. Hey, quick one about the Wildcats and their schedule coming up, because you would have had a couple of sort of maybe back-to-back road games, but the Wildcats have a long stretch right now. It's about 5 weeks, 6 weeks on the road constantly. How much did the road travel take it out of you when you were playing basketball?
Wasn't a problem. I didn't mind going on the road. For me, you had more routine, less distractions. Towards the latter part of my career, I had 3 kids, so getting out the house, getting away from them was, game day, I would still take my kids to school, and, sort of thing. So I actually don't mind going on the road. It's a time when the team they're around each other a lot. You can get that team unity, that team bonding. And as I say, there's no distractions. You don't have to worry about tickets. You don't have to, do all of that sort of stuff. So for me, going on the road isn't a problem. These guys are full-on professionals. They know how to look after their bodies. They know how to handle little 4-hour plane flights. I think people from the East Coast probably psych themselves out even more. For us, we're playing the games at, sort of normal body clock times, whereas when a East Coast team come over and they play a 6-7 o'clock game, well, it's 10 p.m., over East. So for them, they probably are more psyched out about those type things. So for me, I have absolute no problem. If you looked at my record and my averages, I did just as good or better on the road as I did at home. So no excuses there. It's 94 feet, long. The rim's still 10 feet high. No excuses.
So
Fair
good.
enough.
A bit of a fun fact and then a question to follow. But before I signed with the Perth Lynx last season, I actually met James Harvey, who I ended up doing individuals with and training. He spoke about the Perth Wildcats, and yeah, couldn't speak more highly of it and about the culture and the history. Yeah, and then anyway, I ended up signing with Perth, and he was super happy with that. But I heard, yeah, you guys played together in the 1999 to 2000 season. Is that right?
Yeah, James and I won a championship in 2000. James was a great player, West Australian born, but finished his career over East. And it was and continues to be a great club with a great culture. We've been very fortunate to have some really good owners, Kerry Stokes, Jack Bendat, Luke and Andrew did a really good job. And now having Mark on board, we've really been lucky here with Perth to have great ownership. I didn't understand how important that was as a player, but just to have great ownership, great leadership in the management and administration to ensure that we have always had really good players and really good talent. I mean, you look at the Wildcats team, there is no one in this league more talented than those guys. So, the fans and everyone are just really lucky to see someone that's made the playoffs, 99 years out of 100 or something, and just to be around the amazing culture that these guys continue to bring is just it's just amazing. It's just it's lucky, and I really enjoy going and watching these guys play because they play such a high standard ball. They seem like really good guys, and we're lucky to here in Western Australia to be able to continually see such a high standard of basketball.
Thank you.
Right, you got a tip of the hat. That's nice.
If you were to throw yourself into today's era, how do you think you're gonna fare against competition and skill level and all that stuff?
I kill it because
Yeah, let's go.
because back in my day, but now see, back in my day, if you kind of pull up and take a three, that wasn't a good shot, know. But now with the analytics and the free reign that you have, yeah, you can do things that I didn't do, but in this age, it's more suited to my game, And the one thing that that I didn't have in my game was the step back. But now that I see how that has developed, well, then that would have easily fit into my game and complemented it. And I think that would have just added an extra dimension and made me even better. So that is something that I do. I actually, study the game. I've always been a student of the game. When I played, I could have told you every play of every game because I watched that much video and studied the team and my opponents that much. So I do constantly look at it and go, I wonder how I would have fared. I look at Bryce and I go, okay, what would I have done there? And then he does something and I go, I don't think I would have been able to stop that. And then he does something else and I go, I don't think I would have been able to stop that either. And then he does something else and I go, well, shit, I don't think I would have been able to stop that man.
Especially after that 59 point.
Especially after 59 points. So, yes, I think I would have done pretty well in this time based on the skill set that I had.
Just let it fly.
Yeah.
Let it fly, baby. That's what Elijah does.
Do you know what? I'd happily take a peek of his powers, Ricky Grace and Bryce Cotton on the court at the same time. That would be amazing, and I think a lot of Wildcats fans would love to see that. Of course, the Heritage game is coming up this Friday night up against the Illawarra Hawks. The Wildcats players will be wearing the Heritage round kit, and I hope that Ricky Grace and any of the former players from 1995 rock up with their shaved heads. That would be amazing to see.
That'd be great.
This Friday night. Yeah, so long as there's enough hair on them all to start with.
Well, my hair pretty short anyway,
yes.
So it's yeah. So I think I'd fit in, but yeah, I want to see Elijah. Elijah, you don't have to get the whole team to do it, but let's me and you make a pact. If you guys win the championship, you and I'll shave our head, bro.
You got a deal. Well,
There it
I'll
is.
shave my head if we win the championship.
We'll get Ricky Grace
There
to
it
shave
is.
your head.
Yeah,
Get-
nice.
There it
That's a
is.
deal.
You heard it first, ladies and gentlemen.
It's
You heard
on
it first.
camera.
It's
too.
on the Perth Wildcast. It is official. It is happening. Ricky Grace, one of the absolute legends of the Perth
Awesome.
Wildcats. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, my pleasure. My pleasure. Good luck rest of the season, Elijah.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. All good. All good.
Awesome. Ricky, thank you so much for that. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
No worries. Sorry about the
No.
technical difficulties.
Don't worry about it
good.
at all.
Okay. All
Thank you
good.
very
All right.
much.
See ya. Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye-bye.
Good
Bye-bye.
luck with your season 2, Mila.
All right, I'll wrap it up. We'll quickly talk about you guys. Ricky Grace, absolute legend of the Perth Wildcats, joining us on the Perth Wildcast. It is going to be a huge game on Friday night